It turns out I was wrong. It's been a lot of passes and it's still not falling through. Hey, this is Danny, welcome to the Geek Bar. Every movie franchise has its own holy grail prop, some more literally than others, like this one for example. But when it comes to Blade Runner, there's only one prop that's really has caught the imagination of everyone loving that movie, and that is the blaster owned by Rick Deckard, also known as Harrison Ford. And I do happen to have two, and these are replicas made by a Japanese company called Tomenosuke, and these are probably the best that money can buy, except the original one, which went on auction for well over $250,000. Now, they have been in my display cabinet for a very long time, but another way that some collectors like to display these items is inside luxury wooden box. And that's exactly what I'm going to build in this video. But before we get going, I need to ask you to please subscribe my channel, because that really helps me out, and please don't take it as a threat. Pew, pew, pew. To say that I had this project in mind for a long time is an understatement. Just know that I bought this box probably 7 years ago and never got around to do anything with it, but I think it's lovely. It is a vintage cutlery box and it has some beautiful Art Deco line, although it's quite simple. It's just quite in tatters, it needs a lot of TLC. There's some incrustation here which I don't understand. It's been painted to fade the corners, which was quite trendy at the time, but I don't quite like that. And there's a split here on the lid that I can see that will need fixing. The hardware is, generally speaking, very nice. I may have to do something about this one being a bit loose compared to this other one. I'm not sure I can fix it, but I'll have a look into it, and if it doesn't, I'm probably fine with it anyway. So before I can do anything nice with it, I need to strip it down completely. That means removing all the felt inside and strip the paint and then repair whichever damage there is. I'm gonna start by taking everything apart. The felting is usually done with cardboard, then the felt is attached to it. I'm gonna do something similar but with a more modern twist. I tell you what, there's some proper very old dust in this. I'm not sure how old is that stuff, and I'm breathing right now. I should probably wear a mask, but I won't. Smells like a whole person house. Let's go for the hardware now. I mean, flathead screws are a crime against humanity. Problem is, if you're doing a vintage box, you need to use them because they are in keeping with the style. Perfect. Now that the box is all apart, it's time to use some fine wood stripper, which I never used before. It does make it sound very easy to use, and he also says they can cause death by explosions and laser beams. So it's a gel, and it doesn't quite come out. Yeah, maybe it does come out. Give me a second. She stinks. Right, he says to leave it for 5 minutes and up to 2 hours, whatever that means. I'll probably go for 15 minutes, which is right bang in the middle, isn't it? Right, 15 minutes have gone past and I don't really know what to expect, and also I don't have a plastic scraper, which is what they recommend, but I got acrylic and that would probably do. I mean, let's see what happens. I see, there's a lot of goo coming out. That's for sure. There's still a lot of goo on top of that though. Okay, I'm pretty sure I need more. This stuff is extremely sticky. I cannot see the stickiness coming off of it once all the varnish is gone. I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna clean this up. I may end up regretting this, but on the other hand, I have no other choice than adding a lot more and leave it for a lot longer and see if that makes a difference, and hopefully we can clean eventually. Interesting experience. I was very naively expecting that when you use this sort of stuff, it then just wipes off gently, and I wasn't prepared for the amount of goo that this thing produced. So I can't say it looks any better than before now. If anything, it looks a bit worse, and it's sticky. I have left it overnight, and now I think I'm just gonna heat it with the sander and see if that will get rid of all this sticky stuff. Right, I cleaned it as much as I could without losing the will to live, and I think now it's time for me to address this detachment of the central board. It's detached on both sides. I'm not sure how evident it is, but yeah, this is peeling off here and here. Now, I'm going to have a very complicated inlay over here, which is going to cover and build everything up. So I'm not too worried about keeping it nice, clean and seamless. And the same is going to happen on the inside. There's going to be something that covers these up. So probably I shouldn't stress too much about how I glue it. I will just try and squeeze some wood glue in these gaps and then clamp it, hoping that that will do something. Now I can start focusing on the interior of the box. For the reason I had to take some photos of the blaster with some measure reference so that I could trace its profile, and then I would work on CAD for a few hours until I was ready to feed everything to the 3D printer and sleep on it. Making very slow progress on the base at the moment, but I have 3D printed all the bits that hopefully will fit inside once everything is done. So I got the main structure, which is quite impressive and took a whopping 8.5 hours to print. I got my little battery pack that fits in this slot over here, and then it will be covered by a cap that slots in and stays there with magnets. And I got a very fancy fake flat blaster. This is actually going to be the bottom of the insert, and is going to be clad in velvet as anything else. And then I have my light insert, which is going to sit at the bottom, surmounted by the top insert, which is made on the same material just because I wanted to print it all at once, but this will be clad with velvet as well. And talking about velvet, what I am going to use are two different velvets. I'm going to use the red one for the main surface clad. I really like this kind of velvet because it has a wrinkly texture that really adds interest and makes things look posh. And all the accents instead, all the little inserts and stuff, will be done with same velvet, but is in cream color. Right, before doing the actual wiring, I need to test the LEDs, and do have two different kinds of LEDs. They're both 12 volts. One is high powered, high density, which means that it's going to be very, very bright, and the other one, it has a lot less LEDs per meter. And after the testing, I decided to go with the low density ones because I couldn't see that much of a difference, and they're gonna drain a lot less power from the tiny battery that I will add to the box. So once the wiring was done, all I had to do was cut a notch into the box for the switch. Once in place, this will be activated by opening the lid of the box. Sorting the electric was the last boring bit of this project, and now I can start applying the self-adhesive felt, which is giving me a glimpse of how the box is finally going to look. Some parts were a bit more complicated than others, but I have to say overall I didn't cut too much of a sweat, and it was done in a very reasonable time. I'm going to run fairly quickly over the next stage for reasons that will become very obvious later on in the video. But the general principle is that I need to add this very complicated inlay on top of the lid, and before doing that I decided to stain the box and then pass it on the laser to clean the stain and to create an indent for the outer frame of the inlay. And then I applied a sheet of pear veneer directly onto the lid of the box with the intent of engraving it later on the laser. But I used the principle that CO2 laser won't cut through metal to apply two other different kind of veneer onto a metal foil, and then cut all the components to then join them together back onto a big giant sticker. And that left me with only one last material to cut on the laser, but it's something I never cut before and I had to use a completely different approach for it. So the last material of this very complicated inlay, it's mother of pearl or mother pearl, I'm not sure. I never cut it before and I'm not quite sure what settings to use. But one thing I decided to use is the X-Tool F2 Ultra UV, and that's because it's a very fine and precise laser cutter and all its power is concentrated in a very small dot, which means that you can cut materials that will normally catch fire and be fine with it. Now, I don't know what to expect from this material. I do think it's close to fingernails or hair, which means that I need to find a setting that won't cause it to melt or even to catch fire, for what I know. And well, it will smell like burnt chicken. That's something that I'm pretty sure of. So I did try cutting a test array, but it really didn't cut through and didn't do much. But it did create a score at one of the strongest power. And I think that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to use that power and I'm just going to do more passes until it does cut through. And I will try to remember how many passes I do, so next time I need to cut something, I can set it straight away from the beginning. Well, it turns out I was wrong. It's been a lot of passes and it's still not falling through.
And it also didn't smell like chicken at all.
Looks like I finally made it!
And it did take an awful lot of passes, but later on I found out that by changing the settings I could obtain it in a much more efficient way. Nevertheless, for this first attempt, yes, I did say first attempt, and I will explain you shortly what I mean by that, I was able to get all these very delicate bits together in one piece, and I added them to my giant sticker. I then spread a generous amount of wood glue onto the engraved lid, and I applied the stickers onto it, and I left it overnight with some good weight on top. And that's when disaster struck, because not only I realized that I didn't leave it long enough and not everything was properly glued down together, but it was also all a bit lumpy and wavy. But for some reason, living in denial, I decided that a few coats of lacquer and some sanding would sort it out. It took a good night of sleep, but I had to come to the conclusion that I had to take a very drastic decision. This time around I took a similar approach, but with some very fundamental and important difference, and the decision was to create one single sheet of inlay on a giant sticker and to attach it on a nice and flat piece of plywood that then would be stuck on top of the lid. And after that I jumped onto the writer table and I created a frame in black walnut and pear in order to conceal the edge of the plywood, and I mean, it was a lot of work, but wouldn't you agree that it looks a lot better than before?
What a bummer. I mean, it's always difficult to decide to scrap everything you've been doing for the past few days and start from scratch, but every time it happens, it's because we learn from our mistakes, so it really is not a defeat, it's a win in disguise. And remaking this inlay was definitely the best choice I could do, because I also adjusted the design and I streamlined the process, so it was a lot easier than the first time around anyway, plus it now looks exactly how I had it in mind. So I am now ready for the final assembly, because everything is ready and I dressed for the occasion. So let's get cracking! Well, another project done, and I'm very happy about it. I am absolutely stoked that I managed to give a new spark of life to this very old entire cutlery box. I mean, with usual hiccups, but the project came out exactly the way I envisioned it at the beginning. There's always room for improvement, there's always things that I would like to change, different materials that I want to try, and probably I have to say that the lighting effect is not as strong as I would want it to, but on the other hand, I need to deal with the size of the battery, so it does make a difference, and I think it does look beautiful. And I hope it finds a new carrying home, because this is going on sale on my website and it's going to be a one-off, so it's first come first served, but you should definitely check it out because there's also a lot of other stuff that I make. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video, I hope you subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you back. Until next time, stay geek.